Most women think, and I used to think, that the only way to lose fat is through tracking your calories and obsessing over MyFitnessPal, trying to hit that number perfectly every single day. But if calorie tracking was a long-term solution, you wouldn't feel like you need to rely on it to continuously see results. Now, when it comes to calorie tracking, I've used it, my clients have used it, but the issue is whether it works or not. The issue is learning when to use it strategically on a long-term basis so you can reach your dream hourglass physique, and also learning when to stop using it and how to stop using it so you still continue to see the results that you saw when you were tracking, and without losing progress, because calorie tracking feels safe. It feels like we've got the data of what we're eating. So without it, I want you, by the end of this video, to feel super confident in trusting yourself and how to do that without needing to obsess over numbers. Now, from an hourglass perspective, and to reach your dream hourglass physique, we need two things working cohesively. We need our strategic fat loss, and we need our muscle building to combine together to find that sweet spot to be able to snatch your waist and to build your glutes so you can create your dream hourglass physique without just fat loss on its own, which will get you lean. But I know you're here because you want the curves, you want to feel feminine, you want to feel toned. You don't just want two things separately, you want to combine them together. And if you rely on calorie tracking forever, you miss the part where you learn how to eat when you've already got the body that you want. Last year, in July 2025, I did my first ever photo shoot. And up until that point, I was tracking my calories, but I mainly saw it as data. But now, I'm not tracking my calories, but I'm also not spiraling because I know how to eat and when to plan my structured tracking phases so I'm able to create my dream physique when I want to, but then also be able to maintain it when I'm not tracking. And this is exactly what I teach inside my world with all my clients. And in this video, I'm going to teach you 3 frameworks that you need in order to reach your dream physique without MyFitnessPal, but also how to implement these 3 frameworks while you're tracking, because tracking alone is not going to give you the dream physique, because you can find an online calculator and work out your calories and macros and protein and carbs, but you can still struggle to reach your dream physique because we don't have that overall strategy and the frameworks in place. So number 1, moving from calorie obsession to calorie awareness. Now, in your day-to-day life, our calories are going to be made up by 3 most important things. As we know, we've got our carbs, we've got our protein, and we've got our fats. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that all you need to do is just eat a bit more protein and control your portion sizes, because we all know that we shouldn't probably have pasta for lunch, dinner, and breakfast, and maybe the same again. And we know we need to have protein. We know that we need to have a balanced plate, right? But what will help you to create a little bit more of your deficit, which comes into our hourglass method of the fat loss side of things so we can snatch your waist, is being aware of hidden/empty calories. When I was prepping for my first photo shoot, I, through tracking, became so aware of how much butter I was actually using. And I love bread. All of my clients, we love carbs, we want to enjoy them, right? And we love butters, we love fats, we love fried chicken, we love sushi, and we want to be able to make sure that we're incorporating all these beautiful things while still reaching our dream physique. But when I was tracking, I realized that I was adding on about extra 200 calories to my toast with just butter. So what did I do? I cut that straight out, because I know that the butter that I put onto my bread is not the actual part that is giving me the fullness, it's not giving me the satiation. And in order to see fat loss, we need to make sure that we're in a calorie deficit, right? But if we're not tracking, how can we still lead towards that without obsessing over the numbers? So we can make little swaps. So what I did is I actually removed that butter, so that's 200 calories gone from my day without me even feeling it, because it's the bread, it's the eggs, it's the actual other parts of the meal that were keeping me full. The butter was just a nice extra, nice to have, right? But it wasn't actually doing anything to align with my fat loss. The only thing it was doing was adding extra calories. So what I did is I actually took those extra calories and I put that towards an extra egg, or I put that towards a pack of crisps. That gave me the satisfaction of what I actually wanted to eat, and also kept me a little bit fuller, like a pack of crisps compared to butter, right? And I know which one I'd rather have. This matters whether you're tracking or not, because even if your calorie calculator is telling you to eat 1,500, but you're not tracking your butter and you're just tracking it as toast or bread, we're adding on sneaky calories here and there that aren't really serving us any purpose, right? Apart from the little bit of niceness, but we can do without, especially when we are trying to reach our dream hourglass physique. And these hidden calories show up in oils, butter, spreads, drinks, sugars. If you're having 5 cups of tea a day, which I would after my breakfast, if I'm going out for a walk, I'd maybe grab a coffee, right? But can I look to switching my caramel frappuccino with 2 pumps vanilla and oat milk to maybe an Americano to still get the hit of the coffee? Probably. And I'll be saving about 300 calories, which I can put towards actual food that will keep me full and satiated. Because these calorie dense foods slash drinks are literally the foods that do not keep us full, but they're sneaking in extra calories when we don't really need them. So ask yourself, where in your day are you sneaking in these type of calories where maybe we can reduce them or we can cut them out completely and use other alternatives? And this takes me on to my next point of meal structure slash meal timing. When I was tracking my calories, this was still a problem for me at the beginning because I would wake up at random times, I would have my breakfast around 11, 12, even 1 sometimes, and then I'd skip lunch because I've kind of had breakfast and lunch together. And when it came to dinner, I was freaking starving. I'd sit on the sofa, I'd even contemplate getting a takeaway because my stomach was so hungry, I was fucking ravenous, and I would want to eat everything that I've got in my fridge. So I'd eat my dinner, and then I'd even go as far as eating 10 biscuits, another pack of crisps, another chocolate bar, and I'd spend the whole evening just grazing away because number one, my meal timings were all over the place. I was eating like twice a day, and I've seen this in so many women where we wake up, we've got so many things to do, and the first thing that we kind of put to the side is ourselves and our eating because we prioritize, let's say, logging on to work, or we might have to do some cleaning or some chores, and we kind of think, okay, I'll eat later. But what this is actually doing is going to give you more cravings. It's going to make you feel not satiated, not full, and your body is very, very smart. The more structured that you can keep it, the more that you can develop those hunger cues as to when you're feeling hungry. So every single day, you can feel hungry at those same times, right? So what you want to do instead is set yourself in the day 3 to 5 consistent eating windows. Can you set yourself timings where you can eat your breakfast between 8 and 10? Then eat your lunch 12 to 1, a little snack between 3 to 4, and your dinner at 6 to 7. If it moves those random times where maybe you're working in the office and Linda's bought in biscuits and you're maybe having 3 to 4 at 5 p.m. and then you grab another one at about 5 before you go home, and then you finish the gym, you might have a protein shake, then you're like, okay, might have a little banana, then before your dinner's even ready, you might have a little snack again, and by the time you know it, we've eaten about 10 times in the day, which is opening up so many more opportunities for us to add in extra calories that could have gone towards a deficit, right? If you now, after this video, tomorrow, have a look at how many times in the day are you eating, how many times are you opening up that eating window, it might be more than you think, right? So the more consistent you can keep it, the more structured that you can keep your timings, less eating windows that you can create, you're giving yourself that structure where you're essentially giving yourself permission to eat your meals within those times and stick to that structure that you've created for yourself. And that will build so much trust in what you're eating and how you're eating. Because even if you're tracking, this can still be an issue, which I've seen with my clients where they can track for the whole day, but they've not eaten anything for breakfast and they've just eaten all of the calories for dinner, right? And you want to make sure that you are creating these structured meal timings so you can keep cravings at bay, you can curb them, and you can feel so much more fuller, more energized throughout the day, and actually feel balanced. Do you sometimes feel like when you're finishing work at about 3, 4 and you're having a bit of a crash? It's probably because your meal timing and structure is not in the right place where it needs to be. Now this takes me so nicely onto my next point, where as women, unfortunately, I've seen so much in the media where women, when it comes to like picking prime ministers or when it comes to picking leaders in careers, that women shouldn't be in charge because we're too emotional, or women shouldn't make big decisions because we base our things on emotion. So our whole life, we've been told by the media, we've been told by these men in these big industries that, you know what, women shouldn't be in charge. And what does that do to us? It teaches us that we can't be in charge of our own bodies. We can't be in charge of our own hunger cues, how we eat, essentially. So the next step here is to overcome that. For me, was very important because not just in the media, but growing up, I developed an identity where I couldn't trust myself around food because of three things. Number one, my childhood. Number two, my identity. And number three, my habits. Now, when it came to my childhood, my mum would tell me, Sim, you need to finish everything that's on your plate, otherwise you can't have dessert. That would make me feel like I couldn't trust myself to let me know when I'm full. And I would eat and eat and eat, and I'm like, oh, I'm so full. But I'd still have to finish the plate because it was a cultural childhood experience that I had, right? And then I deserved the dessert. So that shaped me. So going into my adulthood, I couldn't trust myself to go out to a restaurant and I thought I had to finish my whole meal, and I wouldn't understand that, you know what, my stomach's actually like feeling full, my zip, it needs to become undone because I'm so full, right? So I didn't know when to stop. So I just eat and eat and eat into oblivion, and I didn't even know when I would feel full. So the more time that I spent connecting to my body, the more time I spent connecting to my hunger cues and understanding when my body is telling me it's full, the less I needed to eat and the less I needed to follow a number, because I knew my own body well enough, more than a number on MyFitnessPal could ever tell me, right? Another habit loop that I realized that I was experienced from childhood was on a Friday night, we'd all sit down and we'd have popcorn and we'd eat food, we'd get a takeaway, fish and chips or whatever it was on that weekend, right? And that came into my adulthood where every Friday, let's get the Domino's app open, let's see what's going on, let's get a takeaway, right? But what I realized was that if I actually had to sit down and think about whether I truly wanted it or not, I probably didn't. I probably wasn't even hungry for it. It's just a habit that I just built up and was still present in my adulthood because I didn't shift it. But then I realized I can literally make my own story. I can literally rewrite my narrative to shift that habit, because on a Friday night, why can't I do cooking? Why can't I make a really nice meal, find a nice recipe that aligns with my goals and still helps me to hit my targets without needing to get a takeaway, right? What else can I do on a Friday that I can reshape my habits to create something that now aligns with who I am today, right? Can I put a candle on and make it into a nice experience? Can I have my meal and present it really nicely and watch a movie, right? And have a little bit of a dessert afterwards. It doesn't need to be how it was before. So if you can pick up these habits in your day-to-day, in your week-to-week nutrition routine, have a think about how that's showing up for you. Is it still aligned with you? Is that still something that you want to do? Is that something that your best, most hourglass, most snatched version of you would want to do? If the answer is no, you know you've outgrown that habit and you're ready to create new ones that align with who you are today. The identity side of things, with the self-talk, I would say things to myself like, oh my gosh, I just can't keep chocolate in the house. I can't be trusted around these biscuits because I'll eat the whole pack. Who the fuck said that? Who the fuck said that, right? Like, I am allowed to create a new identity. I am allowed to say, you know what? I do trust myself around food. And when you implement the other two things that I've just gone over with the frameworks on the physiological side of things to make sure all of those perspectives are hit, this trust side and trusting yourself will feel so much easier and so much more seamless. So how can you create a new identity or new self-talk sentences for yourself that align with who you are today? So for example, oh, okay, thinking about the chocolate, I could have that chocolate, but then I don't really feel like having it right now. I can't trust myself around it. I can trust myself to have one piece and put the bar away, and that is okay for me. So next time you feel something coming up, ask yourself, which one of these three things is it showing? Is it showing up because it's a childhood habit? Is it showing up because of the self-talk that you've identified yourself with? And the more and more that we say these things, the more and more that we become it. The more and more that I say, I can't trust myself around chocolate. I just can't get the biscuits out without eating the whole pack. You're reinforcing the identity. I'm telling you now, you're allowed to let that go. You're allowed to let that go and create a new one. And as I said, when we combine all the other frameworks together, this part will feel so easy because you've hit your protein, you've hit your meal times, you're feeling full, you're feeling satiated. So in order to create that trust now in not overeating, in order to create that trust with yourself, to listening to your body, becomes so much easier when we've got that baseline physiological hunger levels hit, right? Because if every time you stop tracking calories and you feel like you can't trust yourself or old things keep coming up, It's not the calorie number that's the issue. It's not because you're not eating enough protein or you need to increase that or whatever it is, or decrease the calorie amount that you're eating to be more disciplined. It's about creating more trust in yourself. It's about creating an identity of a woman who eats everything because it nourishes her and it aligns with her goals, so you can create that balance across the week. And this is how my clients inside my world lose fat without tracking their calories over a long-term basis. And this is how they are able to use tracking as little phases across their journey and learn when to use them strategically towards getting to that dream hourglass physique without spiraling and without feeling like once they've stopped that they can't trust themselves anymore, because they know exactly who they are without a number telling them what to do. Tracking is just the phase, but what you need is to create your dream physique without tracking calories is that self-freaking trust. And when you build that, tracking will feel easier, and not tracking will also feel easier, because you can eat with so much balance and so much trust that you will reach your dream physique 10 times faster and so much easier. Now that you've understood exactly how to create so much trust in yourself so you can lose fat without tracking calories and reach your dream hourglass physique, I've got a video that goes over exactly how to train to reach your dream hourglass physique without lifting super heavy from what you've been probably told. And this will combine so nicely together so you become an hourglass queen who lifts and trains for intention and hourglass purposes, and also now knows how to eat without tracking calories, so you can combine together to create the perfect harmony. So go check that out, and I'll see you on the next video.